Welcome back to another episode of Insights with Experts, where we aim to encourage and foster discussion, learning, and creating an informed global community. To view this and other interviews in detail, head over to theseer.org, linked in the description. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to our channel for constant updates. Enjoy the episode.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Insights with Experts. Joining us here today, we have Theo Kapodistrias. Now, Theo is a multinational award-winning lawyer, currently acting as the general counsel for Upcord. Now, furthermore, his law efforts span to him being the president of the Tasmanian division of the Association of Corporate Counsel Australia. And lastly, he is also a keynote speaker, trainer, and facilitator who speaks and trains people on a variety of topics, which I'm sure we're going to maybe learn a little bit more about in this interview as well. In my intro, I gave a very rough overview of who you were, some of the main jobs that you hold right now. Could you maybe tell us what that journey actually looked like? Like, what made you want to go into law? Why did you do it? And essentially, what did that road look like to stand where you currently stand now?
Yeah, great question. I guess for me, I wanted to get into law originally because it was a degree that kind of ticked a lot of boxes for me. I really loved problem solving. So being able to solve people's problems meant that, law kind of made sense. When I was at university, I tried to make myself stand out from the crowd because there are so many people who have a law degree at the end of the day. I managed to compete in the intervarsity negotiation competitions. That was a thing called the Australian Law Students Association Conference. I was really fortunate to win the internal competitions at the University of Tasmania, where I studied 2 years in a row. Other things I did included running the student legal service. That was a legal advisory service run by students, but managed and looked after by lawyers in the community legal sector who would supervise students providing advice to those in the community. I was really fortunate because I was able to receive a grant of $50,000 to then hire out an immigration lawyer, which meant we were able to support people who were potentially being deported. I guess my journey into my first job, I did a couple of clerkships, which gave me some practical skills, only small ones in Tasmania. And then I had to do the practical legal training course. I saw a job pop up at the University of Tasmania, and I thought, ooh, that could be cool, in-house legal. I hadn't thought about that as a career path. I was admitted in August of 2014 and then was working by November of 2014. Mm-hmm. So a bit of a break in between, but that allowed me to figure out what I wanted to do, apply for jobs, and really just think, how can I get into this industry?
You run the entire keynote speaking initiative and everything around that. Could you maybe tell us a little bit into that? I mean, why did you start that? And what are some of the things that, I could perhaps learn if I were to join the course or so on?
Yeah, I mean, great question. So I guess a little bit of background on why I launched, but I found myself in 2017, 2018 and 2019 speaking at events regularly. It got to the point where I was being, flown around different states of Australia to speak at conferences and events. I think I have some real value to provide to people. I think I am able to help people with, developing their skills and developing what they're doing. So maybe I could make this professional. But maybe as well, I could get paid for it. That could be really fun and great for me to, I guess, try something different. So in March of 2020, I launched my website and put myself out there as a professional keynote speaker and trainer. And towards the end of the year, I started getting a few virtual engagements coming through and, looking at things now, especially in Tasmania, we are looking at, more face-to-face events now. So I guess the headline for what I do is to be seen, be heard, and make impact. Essentially, I help people communicate.
Mhm.
I help them amplify their message, simplify their language, and have their value recognized.
Mhm.
What I really want to do is help people to cut through the shit, and have their voices heard and to make that real impact. My training, my keynotes, but also workshops, because I run both depending on the audience,
Mhm.
it helps individuals to really break down what they're saying, think about who their audience is, think about how they can communicate their message in the clearest, concise way, and then methods to really get that reach and for them to really make the biggest impact they can.
Why should I be paying attention to learning how to improve my communication skills? Why should I, be interested in this field?
I mean, great question. If as an individual in your job, you might not be communicating a lot, perhaps through like writing code, but to get that job, you need to communicate. You need to write a cover letter. You need to interview. So as a student, those are some of the key things that you need in order to get to that opportunity. But then once you're in that role, you need to work with people. Sure, there's going to be a chunk of time where you're spending time by yourself, but in a software team, if you're doing software development, you're going to be working in a sprint. You're going to be doing agile development. So part of that is working with people closely. You have to hear what people are saying and then communicate back to them how you can solve that problem. So really, there's going to be so much there that people need to, I guess, elaborate on and understand, and then communicate back to their audience, back to their end users, and back to the people who are needing them to do this work.
What advice do you have for students when they have to work with other students and they know they don't have the exact same mind? Like the person I'm going to be working with, he has a different work ethic. How do I communicate with these people and work with them?
So I think the key thing for collaboration is to initially communicate how you're going to collaborate together, but then also what your skills are in the process, what you are really good at, and how you can then work with everyone else to put it together.
Rise of the word Karen on social media and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And if you would have told me like 6 months ago I'd be talking about Karen in one of these interviews, I would have told you to shut up. But here we go. So essentially with that, tell me what did this entire thing entail? Why do you think, how is Karen linked to everything that you do in all of these workshops?
Hope you're enjoying the episode so far. To learn more about Orakui as well as more information about our upcoming episodes, don't forget to follow our socials for constant updates and education content. Links are always in the description.
So what I find really interesting about the rise of the Karen is the fact that the Karen often doesn't think about what she's saying. She just says what she wants because it benefits her. So the words that we say can make a huge impact. And I don't think the Karen, or the media's perception of the Karen personality, I don't think she understands how hurtful and impactful her language can be. Our words can really do a lot of damage, and what we communicate and how we communicate can be incredibly powerful. And the Karen has a lot of power because they're able to get themselves on social media, or they use their social media to their advantage to scare other people, following their own rhetoric. So I think the Karen has made us realize that our words really do say a lot. How we communicate, how we perceive what people are saying, the words we use, and I guess what the end result of what we're trying to actually communicate is really powerful and important. What we want to do is make an impact, but we want to make a positive impact. And I think if we use the Karen as an example of what not to do, then we're probably going to go down a really good path, I'd say, or I'd hope anyway. But yeah, I think 2020 has made us realize that, the Karens are out there and we don't want to be one.
Mhm. What do you think the future holds in terms of Karen?
I mean, the future is interesting. I think it's hard to really know what it holds. I think we're going to have people who are going to have conflicting views, but it's how we respond to it. What I think is important is the fact that we don't want to say things that are damaging to other people. So I think we need to be mindful of what we're saying and how we're saying it and where we're saying it. I think we saw so much with the Trump administration, the use of the term fake news, and how damaging that was. Because what could we trust? We couldn't trust anything that was being told to us. And that's not fair. That's not fair to question everything that's being put in front of us. I think we do need to believe some things. And I mean, if we're believing everything that any person says on Facebook, then we're really quite screwed. So what we want is, I think we want an open discussion, but we want the truth, and we want things that are said that are actually going to be useful and beneficial to other people.
Why should we be using LinkedIn? What can we gain from not just LinkedIn, but just the importance of networking as a whole?
So LinkedIn, I think, is one of the most amazing platforms out there. For me, I joined when I was a student. I was in my 4th year of studying in uni, and it made sense. This is time for me to put myself out there. I'm going to be applying for the national clerkship programs. I'm going to be applying for jobs soon. People are going to Google me. I may as well help control what message is out there.
Yeah.
If someone Googles me, it's going to be the first thing that pops up. Yeah. It's going to be my LinkedIn. The importance of, I guess, establishing yourself on a forum like LinkedIn means that you're able to meet new people. You're able to develop yourself as a thought leader. You're able to connect with people who are potentially going to be really beneficial and important to you in the future. It's the digital business card. It is how people see you, and it's the first impression you give. So being able to put important information on there, being able to engage in important discussions, being able to meet people, it's only going to help you. It's only going to help, I guess, anyone looking at a potential new job.
We're currently doing lots of work into CV. We're actually currently making a CV workshop now, which if you're listening, you might get in a few months or weeks. When you look at people to work with, do you think it's important to apply for a job to specifically have experience in that job? Or do you think there's value to doing external experiences as well?
I think there is huge value in doing external experience as well, because your skills are transferable. I cannot emphasize that enough. One of the main things I used in my selection criteria to get my first job was my experience as a pharmacy assistant. So the transferable skills from that included my communication with customers, being able to hear their issue, understand their issue, and then provide a solution back to them. Have that transferability of your skills, which is super critical. So doing things that aren't necessarily just related to your position can be used for your career.
Is if you could leave young people with just one piece of advice, what would that one piece of advice actually be?
So my one piece of advice would be, say yes to opportunities as they come. Foot in the door is better than nothing. Sometimes you can't be choosy about what you're doing. And I think if you are going into an opportunity with an open mind, giving it a crack, then you're going to finish that with having more skills than what you started. And as you go along in your career, you're going to see that things pop up: voluntary opportunities, the ability to contribute to working groups. Just say yes. I think 100%. I say yes to probably too many things. So that's something I need to get better at in terms of scaling that down. But getting involved and doing different things means that you are able to just develop your skills better. I mean, for me, I became the group general counsel of a global company at the age of 29. And, that was something that I was able to do because I gained, I guess, the appropriate skills to put myself forward for it. So, yeah, please just say yes to things as they come along.
Thanks for listening in. This podcast has been brought to you by Desare, a platform designed to bridge the gap between the youth and professionals. You can read more about us at desare.org. And you can also check out the section titled Insights with Experts, where you can submit your questions that you might have for future experts and industries that you would like to learn more about. And you can also refer in any experts that you might know yourself.